The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Rise! Get yourselves together! Rise! Stand up and live your life! Rise! Get yourselves together! Rise! Hands up high!
Welcome to the Rise Above New Year's show. I am Joe Peroni.
I'm Heidi Mancini.
And tell everybody about our sponsors.
Well, as you know, we're always looking for sponsors. We're going into the new year, so we want some sponsors for our show. So if you would like us to advertise your service or a product, we'll help do that on our radio show or TV show, and also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the major social media sites that we're on. And our website, which is the Rise Above Show, www.fromgrieftorelief.com. Our website is still under that, but the name of our show is Rise Above. So if you're looking, we are always looking for sponsors for our show. So reach out to Joe or myself, probably me, because I do all the social media for the show.
That's true.
And we are broadcasting today from www.dbtv.com.
So what we're looking for is to develop a team, especially for the new year, because we're going to make a few changes. We're going to get rid of a few things, and we're going to add some others. So what we're really looking for with this Rise Above is, if you want to join our team to help other people, we're talking about rise above your genetics, rise above fear, rise above your anxiety, rise above a lot of these things that we're going to be talking about today, and you just want to help people, and you want a platform to do it. You want to come on the show, or if you're out there and you need help in any which way, shape, or form, you can contact Heidi or me, and you can ask us questions, and we can actually, we can write a show about that, and I guess you can do it anonymously, right? So,
Well, one of the things that I'm going to start doing in the new year, and I've been talking about this for a couple of years now, is I am going to be doing a fitness section. And it's not fitness per se. We're going to experiment a little bit with tips on nutrition in the beginning. And I was asked to do some type of video with some type of workout or something for the female clients and male clients. I'm sure they can use it too. And so we're going to be bringing that into the new year too, a little more fitness to our show. Joe is a marriage and family counselor, along with a personal trainer. I am a stylist, and I also do wellness coaching for women, along with the radio show. So one of our interest should be what I'd like to bring into the show is the health part of psychology, because if you're not eating right, if you're making bad food choices, you're not breathing and exercising, whether it be to go for a walk every day, you don't have to get into supposedly join a gym, because most people join gyms in January, and by March they quit, because once again it comes down to, if you don't adapt to a healthy lifestyle, which means being aware of your food choices, eating on a regular basis, put some kind of exercise in there that you enjoy, not what, everybody tells you you should join Pilates or join a gym. Some people like to swim. I happen to like to walk my dogs. If I could get away with just walking my dogs twice a day and not anything else, I would do that. So we're going to be bringing in the new year with that. So look forward to some nutrition tips from myself that I want to try to put into the show.
That's
I
great.
don't know where we're going to put it in the show, but somewhere we're going to try to bring in the new year and help people out, because I get questions a lot from people about food choices and supplement choices, and we assume because we're in it, we know it, that everybody else does, and they don't. They're barraged with all the lies and all the fake advertising on TV, the quick fixer.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because one of the things that I get a little confused with is that I have to actually ask people what they need. And I'll tell you why, because I've been in fitness and the nutrition part my whole life. And we're talking like 40 years. So I assume that other people sometimes know what I'm talking about. Or when I'm reading something, when I know it's totally fabricated, or if it's only there just to make money and most of it's not true, like I can read through that and know it's false immediately. And I forget that there's so many people reading that, and it confuses everything for people. So I need to go back over that and make sure I can work that out, because there's so many false things out there that if you're just a person looking for information and you're just Googling things, most of the information is going to be wrong. Especially with nutrition, a lot of times with exercise, and also today I think we'll talk about how it's wrong in the mental health field, because this week it's also come up a lot that I've noticed. So one of the things I want to continue to do this year is to challenge the herd mentality, and not just do it to get ratings, to have people go, ooh, did you see what those two people said? It's to really analyze things and say the truth.
Well, and the thing of it is because everything is dressed up. And you get it. People need to market. People need to sell their stuff. Everybody needs to make money. But the bad part is that there's so many things out there now, whether it be nutritional, people, all these diets. I just Googled a couple weeks ago the food pyramid. And ironically, the bottom of like 50 charts was the new food pyramid, which has been restructured, that high on that list would be your vegetables, your proteins, and breads, and all the carbohydrates are at the bottom. The food charts that we've been raised on, carbohydrates were at the top, and they were your major food source. Well, you have to really dig to find the new food chart. So, even when people, like you just said before, people are trying to do the right thing, they're misled by all the advertising. And nutrition is really easy. It's very simple, and yet all these companies, and I even hate to say it, in our industry too, trainers, they'll say things like, you can eat a donut if it's included in your daily carbohydrate intake. And honestly, I would never tell any one of my clients that it's okay to eat a donut, I would say eat a cup of rice, eat a half a potato, eat some oatmeal, eat some cream of rice, eat a bowl of pasta if you want. That's probably not the best choice, but it's certainly a better choice than your a sugary donut.
Right.
So, people have good intentions, and I know with doing hair too, I assume that people know what kind of hair care to use in their hair, and I have to give people instructions all the time about, no, you need to use this kind of shampoo because this is what we treated your hair with. You wear hair extensions, so this is how you're supposed to treat your hair with hair extensions. And again, because we're in it, we assume the client knows, and I know myself, I don't want to sound stupid or look stupid, so I won't ask the question. I'll just be like, well, I'll figure it out, or I'll go Google it. And then you go Google it, and you get a whole bunch of bad information. And usually it's who's selling their product.
We will have plenty of stuff
Excuse
to
me, I
talk
don't mean to keep
about for
coughing.
the new year. And I want to attack it in the way that we talked about, that we talk about when we're not on the show. We definitely want to focus towards helping people. And so let's start off talking about the 2016. Let's be honest about 2016, right? Let's take away all your, personal things, because you may have had some great things happen to you during the year. Listen, and I'm still alive, so I love 2016. I love all these things I'm doing. I love my life. I love when I struggle. I love all that stuff. But let's be honest, in terms of popular culture, this is the worst year I could think of. Right, like I'm not into this whole fame and fortune and all these famous people. I don't really put a lot of stock into it. But let's be honest, they are part of our life, right? Like, all of these people were icons from like when I was a kid. Let's say, who is it? Gilligan today.
Well,
Bob Denver died today.
You're talking
you have so
about
many people.
entertainers, because because people, when you said that before, I don't think you said what it was about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, whether we're talking
people.
about famous people on TV, music industry, it's just all over the place. So many deaths this year. So I'm thinking this, okay? Part of our show is to be able to take bad things and to be able to make them good. So how can we make this good? Let's just be honest. We're all going to die anyway, right? So that we can't, do anything about. But what can we do with the time that we have? So New Year's, everybody comes up with these resolutions. And usually what they're doing is they're naming one more thing that they're not going to do. That's what's going to happen. It's because they're adding one more thing. This is what I would say. I would say, let's figure out what's important to us. What do we really care about at the end of the year, or if this was going to be our last year, or our last month, or our last day on this earth? What do we really care about? And so let's make a priority list. Things we care about and things we don't care about. And the things that we shouldn't care about, stop spending so much time on it. I've got a massive list of things, but I would like to talk about George Michael for a little while. Is that okay? We go in that direction? We lost George Michael this week. Now, I'm not a huge fan, but I'm a fan of human beings, okay? And as a person, that bothers me. And again, as we speak about rising above, these types of things are going to continue to happen over and over again, where you get a guy who had fortune and fame and talent who dies alone on Christmas. Why does that happen? You know, and of course the papers and everything, the news says, well, it was natural causes at first. He died peacefully. And then all of a sudden it was his heart. And then we find out that it was heroin. Mm-hmm. And now we talk about the worldwide drug problem. Well, if you're going to take that stance, I'm going to have to take the other stance and say, we need to challenge the herd mentality. He did not die from heroin. He died from a broken heart, period. Here was a guy who was hurting the last 20 years, and the guy is too rich to have a good enough friend to talk to him about his problems. That's what it comes down to be, because once again, cause of death, heroin abuse. No, it's self-abuse. What was going on inside this guy's heart that he disliked his life so much that he had to waste it on drugs for, like they said, the last 20 years of his life? With all of his fame and notoriety,
Well, and I think
why is he in...
Because I think, and I'm going to address this too, is there's a lack of gratitude.
Absolutely.
Because the other thing that goes along with that is, you know, we live in a society that, yes, people are on drugs, people are being prescribed drugs because there's a, you know, it's, you said this before too, it's a circular thing. You know, everybody's getting something out of it. You know,
Absolutely they
from
are.
the drug addict to the doctors to the, you know, the families involved in that because they're usually enablers because they don't want to hurt their loved one. But the person, you know, you take somebody like George Michael, and I see a guy that, again, he was talented, good looking, made a crap load of money back in the 80s, early 90s. What are you so ungrateful for? You know, I get the whole emotional turmoil that whatever happened to him, whether he was raped as a kid, whatever his situation was. I don't know the backstory on him. But I do know that one of the things I get a little unnerved with is that you've got people that make that kind of money, that kind of fame, that kind of everything that, you know, you'd say, well, what is your struggle, man? You know, there's musicians out there that are playing on the street corners. They're in little dumpy bars. There's comedians out there that are amazing, and you never know of them. And yet you get these icons, and everybody, and I don't, and honestly, you know, everybody wants to feel bad, and I shouldn't say this on the air, but there is a part of me that I feel bad for them, that they're in whatever place that they're in. But at the same time, where does the gratefulness come in? That you've been given more opportunity, more talent, and yet even with all the money they have, they still don't get the resources that they need to get better.
I love what you said. 'Cause
So I'm just saying, where's the gratefulness? And when I go into the new year, one of the things that I would like to see happen is this sense of entitlement that people have is becoming sickening. That they feel that because this has happened to me, it gives me a sense of entitlement. You see it all over social media now, Instagram, to, I want to say, objectify themselves. You know, we used to talk about objectification of women. You know, women are being objectified, but people now are objectifying themselves by the whole thing. Well, I'm a drug addict and I was abused and I was raped, and I'm going to do drugs because, you know, I get that there's a struggle in life. I get it. But I do have a really hard time identifying with a celebrity that has no money issues that we know of. They're, again, in the limelight. They get all the adoration. Like, you can't tell me that when you're on stage and you've got all these fans and they're yelling and you're so amazing, you're so this, that, and the other thing, that at some level that doesn't feed them in some way. And my whole thing is always, and like I said, I'm over it. I'm actually, I don't know if it's, we do a lot of work on this, and the more you read, I don't read as much as you do, but I'm around people. And again, it's sad that somebody like him died, and he died alone on heroin. But the other part of it is what is wrong with you that you've got all this money, all this fame, everything, and you're so ungrateful? Turn the negative around. Turn it around and say, okay, I was raped as a young man. I was sodomized. I was whatever the heck happened to this guy or anybody else. But here I am. I've got a talent. I can share it with the world. I've got all this adoration, and I've got all this at my fingertips and money. And I'm still going to do a boatload of drugs and make everybody else around me miserable. Why? Because everybody wants to play the victim all the time, and they want to keep going back to that because society allows it. And they allow it all the way from the pharmaceutical companies to the counselors. Sorry to say that's your profession, but counselors don't really want people to get better because they don't get paid. The doctors don't want you getting better because now you're going to come back in and pay the copay. The pharmaceutical companies don't want you to get better because they don't make money as legal drug dealers. So we live in a culture that there's a lot of narcissism, there's a lot of entitlements, and it's not just the entitlement of the drug addict, it's the entitlement issues of the professionals and the people around them that are supposed to be helping them. Everybody feels entitled that I need to get paid. No, you don't. If you're not doing your job, you need to not do that job. Why did you become a counselor in the first place? Well, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about in general. And me personally, I get sick of it because even when you talk to people that go to counselors, I'll talk to different people during the day and they'll say, well, my counselor said. Your counselor said that to you? Because I'm not a counselor. I don't have a degree, a master's degree in psychology, and I would never say that to you. And these people take the word, it's Bible. My counselor said that this is what,
let me try to unravel some of this because you're saying so many things. It's hard for me to, it's like this big spider web. I need to.
And it is.
So let's take it from the top. Let's take it from a person who has a broken heart. Just think about that first.
Yeah, but you have everybody has a broken heart. You have a broken heart. Your mom died, but did you go and do a boatload of drugs?
Listen, I'm not going to
just
listen.
saying.
The answer is no, but let me not go down that road. Not everybody is me, okay? Person, broken heart. They don't want to be seen. They might have a lot of talent. Unbeknownst to them, they become bigger and more famous than they ever could have believed. Now you're shining a spotlight on a person who knows deep down inside they feel flawed and less than and is a terrible human being. That's their core belief. And now we stare at them every day. You're not even allowed to go to the store without somebody writing a story. So let's say, just to give you an example, let's say I'm totally embarrassed of this hand, right? I cut this pinky off. This one was dislocated. I'm embarrassed, right? I'll sit here. I bite my nail, so I hide it. What if you put the close-up on it and let the world see how ugly I believe I really am? Okay, so that's the difference. Is that the external reward of making money and having fame and fortune is exactly what I talk about. If you don't love yourself, the fame and fortune will kill you quicker. That's what happens. So as an American mostly society that's very capitalistic, we think all your problems are solved by giving you a check, by giving you a nice car. But now all you have is a very hurt human being who's driving in a nice car. Or you get a hurt human being that has a ton of more money to spend on drugs. That's what happens. The money does not solve their problems. We like to think that if we had money, it would solve all of our problems. But it just makes our problems bigger. So the whole thing that I would talk about in Rising Above is, number one,
and I agree, it makes your problems
go to
it
the
makes
heart.
the problems bigger, but I also believe, because in the same sentence you're saying, again, and I don't want to whatever, but I'm going to say this, you just said that the more money you have, the more of I'm going to use the word entitlement, the more entitlement is to do more drugs and more self-destruction. Again, that's an out. It's saying to the person, yes, you have a problem, you have even more money and more ways to abuse your body. And that makes it right in their brain, or whoever.
Listen, they don't think of the drugs as causing a problem. They think of the drugs as their solution to their inner pain because they're numbing themselves. That's what it is.
Okay, let's take it externally a little bit. You don't think that the drugs are, what did you just say? That they don't think that the drugs are hurting them?
Oh no, they know that it hurts in the long run, but the instant gratification is that I'm in pain now, so give me the drug now to anesthetize me.
Right. Okay, and I get that. But on the outside of all that, they're doing that to themselves. So what are they doing to the people around them? And my thing is, as we said earlier in the show, where are all these people that should be around these drug addicts, these people that are drowning their pain in alcohol, drugs, sex, because there's sex addiction, there's all kinds of stuff. My thing is okay, but what are they doing to the people around them while they're numbing themselves? So now you're taking a person
I'm
who
going to
doesn't
answer
care
that
about the
though.
people on the external.
But let me
part.
answer that. They're hurting them
And why would they do that?
because they're hurt themselves and they don't think they can do any better. That's the best they can do in that moment. And trust me, those people don't enjoy hurting people. That's part of why they end up cycling and using again, because they look at all the people around them and they know that. And then that's why a good percentage of them commit suicide, because they don't feel worthy to be around people who actually care about them. That's what I'm trying to get here is, with this George Michael thing, to use that as an example, is that if we continue to say it's a drug problem and it's not a broken heart problem, we'll continue to go down this road over and over and over again. We have to get at the psyche of the human being and stop thinking that if somebody's famous and they make more money, that solves the problem. It makes them feel worse. You know, that's the bottom line. That's why I always talk about we need to strengthen people's personality strengths. We need to live up to virtues. If you're married, you live up to your vows. These are things that you need to live up to, not to always aspire like the Tony Robbins of the world or the Joel Osteens of the world that are like prosperity preachers. They say everybody's life is going to be good once you have that brand new Cadillac. And it doesn't matter. It's about feeling good inside. And the thing is, too, so many people keep going towards the drug as being the issue. It's not the issue. The more you keep saying that and we keep harping on that, and we have all these programs about the drug problem, this and this, we should not have a war on drugs. We should have a war on people to increase people's self-worth. We need to have a war on people's inner pain. Once we handle that, the other things will go away. Let me use another example because it happened this week too. That I can use it. John knows this guy by name. Not too many people know him. Do you know who Pete Best is?
Nope.
Pete Best was the original drummer for the Beatles. Think about
the
that.
Ringo Starr, yeah.
Think about that. Here's a guy who was in the Beatles and got thrown out of the Beatles before they recorded a song to make any money. I mean, he was on some recordings, but that's beside the point. Ask yourself if the fame and fortune would have helped him, right? Like, you would think a guy like that, if we put it in reverse, okay, you got thrown out of the Beatles. Every day for the rest of your life, you have to know that you are not the Beatles. You are not famous. You are nothing. Every way you look, listen to the radio, Beatles, 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 everywhere. This guy was a civil servant in England for 20 years. That's what he did. Normal job. Normal job. He was asked about his life. Is he 70, 74, 75 years old now? About being fired for the Beatles. You know what he said? It was the greatest thing that has ever happened to me, is what he said. You want to know why? Because his self-esteem was not built on being famous. Do you know what he has that none of the guys in the Beatles have? He's been married to the same woman for 50 years. He has 2 children that love him to death, and he has the time to play with his 4 grandchildren. and he doesn't have cameras being pushed down his throat. He's not on the news every day. He is a normal, hardworking man that has a story for his grandkids about he played for the Beatles. And you know why he got thrown out of the Beatles? Because he was the good-looking one.
Oh.
Paul McCartney hated him because the girls paid more attention to him. So think about it in terms of that, right? Like, and I think I was saying this last week, fame and fortune means nothing. You want to be a good human being. In terms of our show, I get it. Beatles are great. Love them. But Pete Best is what I'm talking about, of how to rise above. You get thrown out of the Beatles and you have the great life. And it's not about being somebody's superhero. Sometimes superheroes are like my mom. Single mothers who raise kids, who have 2 jobs, sometimes 3. It's the bus drivers, it's the taxi cab drivers, it's the first grade school teachers. It's not people who are rich. It can be, but we give so much credence to money and how that should make you happy. That to me means nothing. You know, I love that we always talk about military. We always go, oh, thanks for your service and you're a hero. I agree. But what about the crossing guard? They're not a hero too? You know, what about the person who serves you when you go to a restaurant? They're not a hero too? They have their own things that they have to work through. And they're not doing it with a lot of money behind them. And they're not doing it with the whole country calling them a hero. They do it because they want to. They do it with no adulation. Those are the real heroes to me. And people like Pete Best really are a symbol of what I think a solid human being should be. Talk for a second, because I need to grab some water, and I want to go into Carrie Fisher. Say something.
Well, I agree with everything that you're saying. I mean, I just want to go into the new year, and I think one of the things that people should maybe try to remember is be grateful, because I think as long as, and even for myself, when I start feeling a little low, somebody put something on Facebook this morning about people putting all the highlights of their life on Facebook and how fake it is and everything else. And, I have to agree with that, because most people don't put on there that they're fighting with their boyfriend. They're, I can't stand my wife, I'm cheating on my girlfriend. They give you all the highlights of their goodness part of their life, and it makes people that are going through stuff feel bad, because they're like, well, God, this person seems like they have everything going for them, and I can't get my shit together. But I think that it's a thing of gratitude. It's about, because I get down to, I think, well, maybe I could be doing more, or why don't things always turn out the way you want them to, or why does a client leave me, or what, those type of things. And you just have to try to find the gratitude in that, remember, the positive part of why you're doing what you're doing, and just be grateful that, I guess I should be grateful that I'm the age I am, and I get up every day and work out, and I work, drive my car, I can walk, I don't have major health problems yet, but sometimes we all get caught up in that whole woe is me, you wish you had more money, you wish you had a bigger house, maybe more animals, I don't know, whatever. And I think gratefulness, because we do, even in the news and stuff like that, you never, you either see all the negative crap that they post up there about people, and to me, I think Facebook is a great tool in a way, because it does show more of a positive thing most of the time, because you turn on the news, and I don't even watch the news anymore, because everything is negative.
Well, all right, let me throw in here for a second.
All of it.
I had enough water, so let me throw in. What's bad about the news is this, right? If it bleeds, it leads. So they give you all the worst of the worst, but they don't give you the people rising up out of the ashes. They don't give you that. So where's the rise above story? Where is it? It's not there. So that to me is worthless. The other part about Facebook that I think is absolutely worthless is people only put their highlight reel on there, like everything's awesome. That to me is not inspiring at all. Because really what's inspiring is to come from nothing and make it something, right? Like everybody puts on all their best stuff. I'm like, I don't really care about that, right? As an existentialist, I care about becoming. And it's all about where are you and where are you going? Right? So if you are born and you have a trust fund for your parents and you're a millionaire, then you make $1.1 million, I don't care. You didn't do anything, really. Tell me about the person that comes from nothing, that has to break their back to go to school, and then they pay off their student loans, and then they get and then they get a job, and then they actually have a decent relationship in their life. They're much more successful. I want to see that. I want to see people who have gone through negativity, right? Like, great roses don't grow out of, like, gold. They grow out of dirt. And if you want them to grow more, mix in fertilizer. And we all know what fertilizer is made out of. And that's the way human beings are. When you make things too easy, they become soft, and they have no ethics, and they just don't work very hard. That's why we're in the situation we're in with this millennial generation, who I do make fun of them a lot, by the way, but let's be honest, it's not their fault, right? They were born, and then they were raised by people who just took care of everything. So they made them really soft. That's not their fault. Like, who wouldn't want to be comfortable? It feels good. Right. But the thing is, though, the first second something happens to them, they fall apart. I want to take this Carrie Fisher thing for a second, too, because I'm going to challenge the herd mentality. She died of a heart attack. Very sad, 60 years old. Now, they're coming out saying that she was a champion and her mother, too, because they talked about mental health, right? They said that she had a bipolar. And everybody goes, oh my God, it's bipolar. She was born with that. It's genetic. So she needed to take all these drugs to combat that. And then she was taking over-the-counter drugs. And then she was taking, drugs from her dealer down the street. And then she was taking prescribed medication. And we talk about this as, oh my God, she had this illness. And then the mother listen, I don't have a bad word to say about her, because she ended up dying too, by the way. It's just a terrible year. She did the best she could with what she had. And she did the best she could with the knowledge that's given to her by supposed experts. But let's be honest. Bipolar is not leukemia, okay? You need to understand that. Bipolar is not cancer. It's chosen when you're young. It's how you cope with a sick environment, an invalidating environment that's around you. It's through incredible trauma that makes you emotionally dysregulated. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down. When people are manic and they talk fast and they say things impulsively, if you were to ask them why they do that, they would say, because nobody listens to me. That's the answer you would get, because they were in an environment where nobody paid attention to them. They're not crazy. The environment doesn't support them. When a person says that they're depressed from a young age, depression means that the environment around them was not conducive to them showing their emotions. So a young child who comes into this world needy, naked, totally dependent upon their caregivers, looks at that caregiver, wants attachment, and doesn't get it. What are they going to do? They're not allowed to show emotion. And when they do, it's met with indifference and neglect. That is why these things are caused. So everybody's like, and it's terrible, 2 more deaths, and it just destroys me because I'm in that business. But what destroys me just as much is how many people are going to say she was born with it, oh, too bad, so sad. No is preventable. That's the point. Make one person stand up and say, emotional dysregulated person, it's not a disease. It's because of the environment. And that's the way it is. Now people go, okay, well, how bad could her environment be? Just a quick little check here. Her parents were famous, okay? They were never really parents. She even has a quote saying, my parents were everybody else's parents. They meant more to the public than they ever meant to me. Eddie Fisher, sperm donor, never a father. So let's subtract a father. Let's take a mother who had no emotional capabilities of being a mother, got remarried the next year. I mean, why be a good mother when you can just get remarried to another famous person who, this whole bit, right? And it goes on and on. She was on major drugs by the time she was 13 years old. So people don't want to talk about the trauma. They want to say, oh, It's this bipolar, because nobody wanted to talk about the family issues. She had so much money. And what you said before, I think, is totally true. Why can't some of these people look for help? I'm going to give you the answer. Because sometimes they do, but the help is pointing the other way. Because people are so interested in making money off of them. Like even now when I talk, I can tell you 95% of therapists right now are going, shh, don't tell people that. We need to make money selling drugs. Don't say that, because we have to be better therapists. We have to look into the childhood trauma. And it's so hard to do. You know how hard it is? It's like brainwashing from the day you're born, when you're around parents, or sometimes no parent that cares about you. It is so hard. Everything you say is met with either negativity, violence, total abandonment. You don't know who you are. You have no identity. If you were to ask Carrie Fisher what her identity is, she would tell you, I don't know, Princess Leia. Princess Leia is fake. It's not real. You know who her best friend is? Her dog, which is awesome because I love dogs too. But let's be honest. She did try to get married, by the way. I wonder how she chose her partner, because her partner divorced her and married a guy. So, I mean, listen, I don't care if you're bisexual, gay, or what, but it's really odd. Why would you pick a guy who's gay? Because maybe you can't have an intense emotional connection with somebody?
Well,
ooh, who would have thought that other than me?
Okay, I'm listening to everything you're saying to me.
Yes.
And to everybody else out there. But I also, there's children, and here we go again with this. There are children that I know that had horrendous upbringings, and they're come out of it, and through their choices and through resources, whatever they did not end up that way. Bipolar disorder and whatever else you're talking about. I can, in my head, I know 2 individuals right now off the top of my head that were sexually abused, beat up, and
True.
These kids, they're amazing. They smile, they have hope, they have a really good attitude, they're going to have amazing futures ahead of them, and yet people will always say it's your environment that makes you who you are. And I'm not sure I'm sold on that either 100%, because there's kids that have been abused and they come out, they go to school, they're not abusers themselves, they end up having productive, somewhat healthy
But again,
lives.
I like where you're going, because a lot of people think like that. And if you say it, there's probably thousands that think like that. And I love that. It's hard to say, right? Nothing in this world is 100% to 0%. Nothing. But as a general rule, if you have a hornet's nest right here, and you want to traumatize it, and you want to punch it, half the hornets will go this way, half the hornets will go that way. Some will end up drug addicted, some will end up with a victim mentality, some will learn helplessness. Some will be like me, that you look at and go, that guy hasn't done a wrong thing. He got straight A's, he wins bodybuilding shows, for the most part, I look like there's not a thing on this planet that I don't do excellent.
But
let me finish.
Thing is,
Listen,
as a
but you're
society,
not.
we focus so much on.
But you're not letting me.
They would get the examples of the people
But
that
you need
get
to hear
through
my
it.
argument before you
Because
start.
there's so much focus on.
But you're not hearing my argument. You need to hear the full
You're
argument.
not hearing mine either.
I will, but you're not hearing. I'm right in the middle of it. When you see a person who is almost ultra perfect, everybody.
But you're still, the ultra perfect is still not right, because they're still hiding.
That's what I'm saying. You can't just say.
They just hide better.
Okay, but now you're agreeing with me. What I'm saying is there are people that look that the trauma is on them because they do very negative in life. There's people that do very well in life. That is also a big part of trauma, because they're perfectionists that go to bed every night scared to death of making a mistake. That's also part of trauma. But you can't say, well, people just get over it and they do well. And some people do. But sometimes you're misreading. When you see someone who seems ultra perfect, that's also the same trauma that caused the drug addict situation. It's the same thing. is what I'm trying to say. That's why when you have compassion and empathy for people, you have to look at it, because we all struggle. We're all human beings.
And I
In
still
the
think
end,
it's a choice.
and
I believe in what you're saying. I see, I understand what you're saying, but I also understand that it's a choice in a lot of situations too. You can choose drugs, or you can choose to go to a counselor. You can choose not to do drugs. You can choose to do something. Go out and volunteer in the community. Go talk to
true.
a survivor. Go see somebody that's, survived
I
it.
agree with you, but also you have to realize whether you're talking about, no, listen, don't take my word for it. I'm not the smartest person on the planet. Let's go with Freud and Carl Jung, probably two of the smartest. They will tell you about 85% of the things that you do are unconscious. There's unconscious drives to save you somehow in your ego. Like, when you lash and you say something, you go, who said that? Or you can get angry.
I said that.
Yeah,
I know I said that.
I'm not going to out you in front of
Yeah.
everybody. But what happens is that
I said that I did.
you go crazy, you say a lot of things, and then the next day you feel horrible. And you go, who said that? Well, that would be you. Because your unconscious is trying to block something. Somewhere inside you, you are very aversive to people who look like they have trauma, because you're trying so hard to hide yours. And that's really the way it works. Now, you'll smile and put it off when we go
Because
to
I
commercial
think
break.
it's
I'm going to take a beating
inappropriate
here, aren't
that
I?
You're talking
But-
about that because, again, it always comes down to how awesome you are and how awesome I'm not.
I just finished telling you that when you hit the hornet's nest, I am a prime example of a major trauma person. And I've said that almost every day for 4 years when we've done this show. That's what I keep trying to say. So you didn't hear it. I'm responsible for the message given. You can hear it any way
Okay,
you want.
I didn't get it.
I said
Sorry.
it last week, I said it this week, and I'll repeatedly say it. That's why I want to have a show called Rise Above. Because I was not born perfect in any way, shape, or form. I feel it. Every time you say something, I feel it in here, but then I try to act appropriately. And it's because of early trauma. It's from all the other things. I said I used to fight for every breath I took when I was a kid. I was not allowed to play sports when I was a kid. I felt always less than. I couldn't hear myself. I mean, think about all of those traumas and how it's scary for me just to even talk. These are all things that I have to keep trying and trying and trying. You don't know the hours that I sit alone in a room trying to listen to myself talk so I can feel comfortable to talk to another human being. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Let's go on a little break. I think we have a few really awesome videos. Two of them kind of sum up how difficult 2016 has been. And one of them was a last-minute addition. And I put it in there because this guy is the epitome of what I think a strong human being is. He's a football player. You see him out on the field. He's not just doing his job, but he's leading everybody else into battle. What happens at the end, and the video is not too graphic, so you don't have to worry about that, but he does break his leg, and he doesn't want to make everybody go, crazy kind of thing. He just says, it's broke, it's broke. He just says it, waves people over, and as he's leaving the field, he tells the other guy that's replacing him, he gives him a pep talk. Just says it. And yet he has a broken leg. This is a really strong guy who has his emotions in check, absolute leader, very strong human being. We'll be right back after these messages.
I've always found that I collect. I'm a collector. And I've always just seemed to collect personalities, ideas.
I can teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses.
What democracy means is that on controversial issues, we debate with each other and persuade each other and vote on it.
The United States honors Harper Lee for her outstanding contribution to the great literary tradition of America.
Ronald and Nancy Reagan were defined by their love for each other.
Just know that things in this life happen for a reason.
Remember that when we fire you.
All the odds were against me in the sense that it was very difficult for women to make it in architecture.
He lived his art. There was absolutely nobody like him, and there never will be.
I
want to make one prediction. I'm not calling around. I predict that when I meet Joe Frazier, this will be like a good amateur fighting a real professional.
I've seen war. I've seen what it does to the victims. And the victims usually are children, innocent children. So I'm against war. We must stop evil before it becomes too powerful.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
And here's the golfer who is the master today, Arnold Palmer.
Today, the greatest choice before the Middle East, to be a Middle East of independent political states.
I am trying to do my duty under the Independent Counsel statute and under the law.
Gwen was a friend of ours. She not only informed today's citizens, but she also inspired tomorrow's journalists.
That's the way they all became the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch.
Are you a communist, Vito? Well, wait for the history. The history will state what we are.
May the winds be with you, Thomas. Good Lord, ride all the way. Godspeed, John Glenn.
Hey, that thing's coming. That thing's coming. Coop, that ball's coming.
Derek Carr has enjoyed one of the finest passing seasons in Raiders history. True to his word, the Spirals kept soaring against Indianapolis.
What's up? Go. Hey, stop talking with this dude, man. He ain't nobody. Stop talking with him. Hey, stop talking, man. Just play ball, man. Stop talking. Hey, Chef. Blue Heidi, what's up? Run a go route! It's a freaking touchdown!
Worst thing you can do is be frustrated now.
No, I'm not. We're gonna punch it in.
We need to keep doing us and stay in rhythm. All we do is bogey the first 2 holes or 16 to go, you know what I mean?
Right? Because I love the heck out of you, and that's why I was trusting you with the go route. You know what I mean? No, but what I'm saying is it wasn't your fault. I'd only get frustrated because I knew you had a one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? I hope you know that.
Go through your progression, have fun.
Yes, sir. We need a touchdown here, fellas. Let's go get some points. Hold on. I like that you're ready, though. Not gonna lie, I like that. Be ready, bro. Run this thing right on the 5-yard line, okay? Down! Blue Heidi! What's up?
Yes, looking back throws. James is trying a couple of blocks. Touchdown!
Yeah, man! Great job, fellas. Great job. Love you, man. Great job. That's what I've been talking about. Boom!
We need 40.
We need more.
40 burgers.
We need more. Down! White 80! White 80! Hey, here we go. Cover 0. White 80!
Second and 1 from the 5. He's going to throw. Looks right, throws. Caught. Walford breaks the tackle. Touchdown! Raiders!
Great job. All right, here we go. Blue 80! What's up? That's it. Come back.
Here's a gun run. It's stripped out. DeAndre Walker makes a man miss in space. And right into the end zone.
Great job.
Oh, you called a run.
Yeah. Oh, I did. I know. What am I doing?
What are you doing?
Why would I?
I thought you were gonna throw the fade.
Why would I ever?
Why
Why would I ever call a run? As I was handing it off, I saw it. I said, "Hey, cut back." He said, "Boom." I was playing Madden back there. Cut back. Left. B. Here we go. Let's go. We gotta finish. Hey, we gotta finish. Hey, man. Here we go. Take a deep breath, man. Here we go. Blue Heidi. What's up? It's broke. It's broke. It's broke. It's broke. It's broke. It's broke.
Wow, the crowd chanting for Derek Carr as the MVP. A real moment here.
I love you, bro. Hang it up. I ain't gonna love you. We got you. Finish it off, Maddie. I know you do. I know you do.
I think it's broken.
Okay.
Here you go.
Come on. I think I broke it.
Well, the Raiders win, but with a large respect, this feels like a loss today with the injury to Derek Carr, but they do win.
Welcome back to the Rise Above New Year's show. I am Joe Peroni.
I'm Heidi Mancini.
So with the amount of deaths, it was so, I don't know, I'm laughing about that. It was so prominent this year that it obviously makes it that, puts it front and center that we should care a lot more about what we're doing this year and make our priority list. Things we should care about and things that we don't really need to care about that much. So
Care about other people more. Let's try that. Let's try that on for a size. Let's say instead of caring about myself and being a narcissist and a millennium selfish, self-centered person, why don't we decide I'm gonna worry about you. What's going on in your life? Let me worry about you. And take the attention off yourself. And then when I'm worrying about you, you can worry about me. And it puts a whole different twist on, instead of focusing on your own self and going, oh, I feel so bad because I'm not doing this or that, focus on the other person.
All right. Fair enough.
See, I'm going to care more about you this coming year. I'm going to care about my partner more and their needs than myself, and see where that gets the relationship, opposed to it always being about us. And that could be your job. It could be a personal relationship. It could be here at the radio station. How can I make things better for you, John, to run the show?
Bring more shows.
Right.
There you go.
You know, I mean, how can I make your life better instead of me worrying about how I can make my life better and what's going wrong in my life or right or whatever it is? What can I do to make your life better? What'll make you smile? What'll take some stress off of you? But as a society, like you said, we get wrapped up in our own stuff and we start making it always about us. I don't make enough money. I don't have enough friends. I don't have a kid. I don't have, whatever it might be. So what do you want?
Well, I like where you're going with that, because a lot of times I'll get a couple, they'll be on my couch, and what they'll come in.
Are they on the couch together? Are they on the couch
it's interesting
together?
you say that, because I know right off the top that there's going to be a problem, because I have a couch and a chair.
Yeah, so somebody's sitting on the couch and somebody's on the chair, right? They're probably not sitting next.
I'm allowed to say that because I'm not saying a name. Yeah, usually they do. Usually one person will sit
on the
yeah, will sit on the chair, and then the other person will not even, they go like this. They go. No, they go like this. Like, I'm sitting, and then you go over there. That's what they do. So that's how we start off. And I don't mean to laugh, but I mean, it's just so stereotypical, right? You're not in the room, and you already know what's going on. So person A and person B, and it's like ready when you hear that gun in the Olympics, boom, and everybody starts the 100-meter dash. That's what they do. It's like, and they want to get out everything that they have to say about what the other person did wrong. They screwed me like this, this, and this. They didn't do this. They didn't take out the garbage.
I'd be like this with a microphone. Here.
Right?
Oh, no. Okay.
So that's what it is. So they have a list of complaints, and the other person has a list of complaints. That's what it is. So every once in a while, well, not really, I'll listen to it. And then the next time they come in, when they're like, okay, I'm really prepared now, I come in and I go, so tell me what you're going to do to be a better partner in this relationship. What are you willing to do? And they look at me and they're like, hold it, what I'm willing to do? And what it essentially comes down to is what they're willing to do is to argue, yell, cajole, and make the other person feel like a jerk so they change, so they don't have to change. That's exactly what they come to therapy for. They're like, didn't I just tell you that? My partner sounds like a real jerk, don't you think? And they try to get me to be like in the triangle.
On their side.
I'm like, I don't do the triangle thing, all right? Like, you both have to be better people towards the other person. right? So I think, yeah.
But when you think about it, when you're not
right.
in a relationship, we do try to make our people in our lives happier. You know, like when you're training people, I'm doing people's hair, I make it all about them for that hour, 2 hours that they're there. And they feel amazing when they leave. But when we're in relationships, for some reason, we think that the other person is supposed to be there taking care of us. But if I take care of you,
right,
then you take care of me. Because how can you still be a jerk to me if I'm nice to you? But if I'm a jerk to you, you can easily be a jerk back.
Right, like let's say we leave here today and you're angry at me, right? And I'm angry at you.
I'm not. Are you angry at me?
No, I'm just saying. No, we're going to do this right here. The reason would be is because you might think, or I might think, that you don't validate my position, or I don't validate yours, and in doing so, somehow I think less of you, or I might feel you think less of me, and that's not true.
No.
It's just that we both come from different backgrounds. So, and John during the break mentioned it too. Yes, there's a genetic component. I absolutely agree. But here's where the other thing is: when I have my priority list, and it says what I want to care about and what I don't. I think it's like third on my list is I don't care about genetics because it's something that I can't control. So if genetics take up about even 30% of something, screw that.
Screw it.
I've got 70% on my side that I need to change. Or as a therapist, I can look at you and say, tell me about your hurts. I will listen to you. Nobody in your life before has. You know, love solves almost all problems. So I can do that. So I like where you're going with that, and I understand your position. I agree with part of it, not all of it.
And I agree with part of yours, but not all of it. So we're on the same page.
Well, that's how we do this. Okay, we don't have a lot of time. But
I was just trying to say what you
okay, so we don't have a lot of time for New Year's. Real quick, if I can do this. How much time do I got? 30 seconds? Things, you want to say this? Because I'm not allowed to curse on the air. Things we don't
give a F about.
Things we don't give an F about. You ready? The Kardashians, white bread, Pokemon, fortune, fame, excessive people pleasing, being comfortable. I don't care about things I can't control, external rewards, opinions of others, trends, drugs, gambling. I don't care about fitting in, and I don't care about who I was. Things I do care about: people, virtue, self-care, character strengths, contribution, meaning and purpose, fulfilling my potential, who I'm going to be. I care about my life direction, my identity as a trainer, therapist, boyfriend, bodybuilder, and human being. I care about responsibility, power, and overcoming challenges, and I care very deeply about this show and helping people. So this was our New Year's show. God, I hope next year's better.
It will be. It's an odd number. It'll be good.
Thanks for watching the Rise Above show. I am Joe Peroni.
I'm Heidi Mancini.
2016 has been one calamity after another. And while it will be remembered for the giant calamity we all just witnessed, we shouldn't lose sight of the other multiple ways this has been a shitty year.
If we could erase 2016 off the calendar, it'd be perfectly good with me.
Pretty rotten year. I think most people would admit that.
It totally blew. It was awful.
This world is feeling scarier. It's feeling a little colder.
For EU, it was a really crappy year.
The whole Brexit was kind of a mess.
Just a lot of hatred to a lot of groups. I think that's been the staple of this year.
Syrian refugee crisis, pretty terrible.
Lots of sexism being very blatant.
I think it's absolutely disgusting what the city of Flint did to its residents.
The New York Jets suck. The Yankees missed the playoffs.
I didn't like Kevin Durant going to going to Golden State. That was a chicken shit move.
Some asshole stole my watch in Miami.
I got broken up with. That was pretty shitty.
I had a girlfriend for 3.5 years. She broke up with me about 2 months ago.
My landlord is a piece of shit.
I met Bruce Willis here like a week ago and I asked him for a picture and he said no, so that made me feel bad.
My son is hitting puberty and he's being a real pain in the ass.
I got all molded by a dog on my birthday, so that was like a cherry on top of a shitty year.
Menopause.
Never forget Harambe.
Harambe's out there listening. He took shots for us. We should take shots for him.
Too many deaths.
Prince. Prince is my man. I miss Prince.
Prince, that was just...
I think the worst is the David Bowie's death.
David Bowie. What the fuck?
Bowie? That was my big one.
Fife Dog, man. Come on, man. Shout out to Q-Tip, man. Tribe Called Quest. I grew up on that.
Muhammad Ali, that was one of the biggest.
What he represents for black people in America, that's a huge deal for me.
Move like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Oh God, Gene Wilder.
Alan Rickman, fucking Snape, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This year did suck.
Fuck 2016.
Fuck you, 2016.
Fuck you, 2016.
Fuck 2016.
Fuck you, 2016. Bad year. Shit year.
2016. This is for you.
Fuck 2016. Fuck it a lot.
Fuck 2016. And fuck Donald Trump.
Fuck 2016.
CNN won't let me say this on New Year's Eve, but get fucked 2016.
Fuck 2016.
Vai se fuder 2016.
What is this, mayonnaise? Fuck 2016. Fuck you, 2016.
Fuck you, 2016.
2016, fuck off.
2016 falls well below my standards of quality. Fuck 2016.
Fuck you, 2016.
Hey, 2016. Go punch yourself in the dick.
Fuck this year. Fuck you, 2016.
Fuck you, 2016. Fuck you, John Oliver.
Hey, 2016. Fuck you. And hey, 2017. Fuck you too. I hate you already.
Fuck you, 2016.
You're asking me. Fuck 2016.
Fuck 2016!
2016. From the bottom of my heart, go fuck yourself.
Fuck you, 2016. Fuck you. That's our show. Thanks so much for watching. Let's all try harder next year. Good night.